Contention. Critique. Conjecture. Conclusion.
The Huddle with paperplusoffice.co.nz. Shop online anytime. They're open 24/7.
NewstalkZB, The Huddle this evening. Josie Pagani and Cameron Slater, good evening to you both.
Hello.
Good evening.
I suspect we three will agree on this. I find it, and Cameron, I'll start with you, I find it completely inexplicable, this American... It's part of their culture. It's part of their DNA. This right to bear arms in defence, but the weapons are so often used in offence. You know, like we saw at the weekend.
Oh, I don't think we are going to agree on this because
good.
It's not.
Josie and I will.
It's not good for ratings for a start. But look, it's a terrible crime, and make no mistake, it's a crime that this guy has committed here in walking like a coward into a darkened cinema and attacking people who were defenceless. Now, it's interesting. Colorado has concealed carry laws, but a lot of cinemas and other areas that you congregate actually ban the taking of handguns into those cinemas. So these people commit crimes, they break the law, and they always attack people in areas where they are defenceless, like schools, like cinemas and things like that. And no amount of changing the law is going to stop criminals committing crime.
But isn't the bottom line, if those weapons weren't so readily available, and this bloke brought a whole lot of weapons online, just like you and I'd go to eBay or, and buy a pair of shoes or something, he bought it all online, there was no checks and balances, and you can buy these weapons of mass destruction.
Colorado does have one of the more liberal gun laws for purchasing of ammunition. There's no waiting periods and things like that. But the fact is that there are millions and millions of law-abiding firearms owners in the United States, and crimes like this do not happen that often.
I've got to get Josie in here. Go, Josie.
Except that, Cam, in this country, you can't walk into Kmart and buy semi-automatic military-style weapons, and that's the problem. So what you've got here, I just had a look at the list of these fatal mass shootings. Now, I'm not talking about drive-bys or crimes or murders or domestic violence. I'm talking about these fatal mass shootings by lunatics like this guy. There have been about 127 since Columbine in 1999. And they've happened in places, as you say, Cam, in places like shopping malls, cafes. Yep. 8 were killed in a hair salon, churches, swimming pools, bus stations, hospitals, gyms. And I think when the Founding Fathers said in 1887, I think it was, when the Constitution was signed, the right to bear arms, they didn't mean the right to bear arms with semi-automatic military weapons. And I think that's where the big debate's going to be after this. Now, Cam, let me finish this. It's important because I understand what you're saying about the right to bear arms.
It's the right to keep and bear arms.
Cam, let Josie finish.
The issue here is the public ownership of military-style Rambo assault weapons, and that's the debate that America will have again after this, that nobody should be able to own those sorts of weapons. Nothing to do with sports, nothing to do with hunting. These are designed to mass kill as many people as possible in a minute, and they should be banned in the state.
See, that's very emotive, and it's a terrible crime that you've got here. But the Constitution is clear. It has been challenged multiple times, and it fails every time. The Constitution says the right to keep and bear arms, not just bear arms, but keep and bear arms. Now, there's a case in Florida just 2 days before, when you were listing all of the places where these crimes have occurred. 2 guys walked into an internet cafe, attempted to rob that internet cafe, carrying a shotgun and a pistol, and it was an elderly gentleman with his pistol that he has a license to carry and concealed carry under Florida law, and he repelled those guys, actually shot them, and they've been captured as a result of that. Now, those people in that internet cafe, and you can see it on the videos from the security cameras, there was people in absolute terror being held up there, and one guy was able to stop that because he was carrying.
Yeah, but that's very different to these nutcases who can get hold of these sorts of weapons that cause such destruction and kill so many.
Yeah, Cam, why do you need... Cameron, let me get him. Cam, why do you need a 100-round drum? That was one of the things this guy ordered. Why, that is designed to kill as many people as fast as possible.
And I'm a shooter, and I go hunting, and just,
well, so am I, actually.
Recently took my daughter. Yeah. But I actually do agree in terms of assault weapons. And in New Zealand, it's very, very restricted. In the United States, a lot more.
Well, actually, that's an interesting point, Cam. You're right there. In New Zealand, we do have it. We vet firearm owners, which is a good thing, and we don't register each gun. But I think what you've seen here too, Susan, is that the basic checks are not in place in the States.
You can jump online. He bought 3,000 rounds of ammo for a handgun, 3,000 rounds for an assault rifle, 350 shells, and that 100-round drum, which I'd never heard of before. But
should have triggered somebody in the legal, in the police to say, what the hell?
There is no federal rules on this. This is controlled by each state, and Colorado is one of the most liberal. No, it's not a problem.
Well, it was a problem here, Cameron.
Well, in other states, like Arizona, for example, where they have open carry laws, this sort of thing gets nipped in the bud because everyone can see who's carrying. So there's a whole lot of arguments around all of those things.
But this guy was going to conceal it anyway. He went out, put his vest on so he wouldn't get shot, and then came back in again. And it seems, Cameron, hang on, let me finish. It seems incredibly lucky that actually one of his guns jammed, or else the number of dead may have been way higher. Go on, Cameron, you can jump in now.
Going back to what you say about 100-round drums, there is no valid sporting purpose for those. I agree with you, 100%. There's no valid sporting purpose. In terms of assault rifles, I can see valid sporting purposes for those. There's competitions that are run called 3-gun shoots, where you need to have it's stipulated by the rules, a military weapon. There's one point to make here. I've heard people say this before, like, why should you wouldn't ban tomatoes if people threw tomatoes and they killed lots of people. But the point about that is that tomatoes aren't designed to kill lots of people in the shortest space of time possible. So it's a stupid sort of comparison to make that the pro-gun lobby make. The point is these guns are designed to kill as many people as possible in the shortest space of time, and they shouldn't be in the hands of the public, let alone a lunatic like this.
All right.
They can get hold of them so easily is terrible.
We'll take a quick break there. It is 13 to 6 back with Josie Pagani, Cameron Slater in just a minute. 11 to 6, the Huddle, Josie Pagani and Cameron Slater. And Josie, where were all the protesters outside the National Party convention at the weekend? I think they numbered more than you and I have been to bigger parties than they had outside there.
Yes, probably at home watching replays of Coronation Street, I would imagine. They weren't out in the rain, that's for sure. Look,
a little embarrassing, wasn't it? More police than protesters?
One lesson I learnt from Jim Anderton, one of the most useful lessons I learnt was when you organise a meeting, always book a venue that's slightly too small and never put out enough chairs, so it looks like more people had turned up than you actually expected. So here you had
standing
the opposite.
Room only, old trick that
one,
Josie.
That's right. And the whole point here is that they didn't manage expectations. They predicted thousands and a few.
Maybe not many people care. Maybe that's the truth.
I think the truth is I don't like the asset sales because I don't think it makes any economic sense whatsoever to lose the dividends when the dividends are worth more than the interest we'd save on the debt. Now, I'm not going to go out and stand next to people who are shouting at the police because it's ugly and I don't like it and I don't want to be associated with that kind of extremism, but I don't like the asset sales. So I don't think you can say, therefore, that this means the asset sales are suddenly very popular. They're not. We know that. There's about 80% of New Zealanders don't want the asset.
I don't know where you got that number from. Cameron, you can jump in here.
Yeah, look, this is just your usual rowdies who just want... They talked it up. There were some left-wing bloggers, some of them affiliated with various parties that were providing links and all sorts of news articles about how there was going to be violence, that the police were going to go over the top. None of that eventuated because simply they just couldn't motivate enough angry, mad people to stand in the rain. And it became farcical in the end. And really, we're over-listening to Sue Bradford, frankly.
All right, we'll leave that. No, Joseph, we'll leave it there. 25 years of Māori declared an official language. And Cameron, I'll let you jump in first on this. I was sort of reflecting how much is a part of my everyday life. A little bit, but not as much as maybe I would have thought 25 years later.
Look, I think Te Reo is great for those who want to partake in it, but it's one of our official languages. What I think is laughable is the Herald's sort of attempt at trying to look like they're hip and with it, and then they've decided to go and call themselves the Herald of New Zealand. When you actually look at the translation of what they've used, it's quite laughable. You go to the Maori dictionary and put in the terms and you get it comes up with Herald, or actually bizarre.
Te Haroa o Aotearoa. All right, we'll let Josie have the last word here. Go, Josie.
Good on the Herald of Aotearoa. I think that was a great thing to do. And look, these token gestures lead in the future, as we've seen. I mean, back in 1987, we didn't have the same kind of familiarity. Now we do. It's a great thing.
Kia ora to you both, Josie Pagani and Cameron Slater. It has just gone 6:08.